This studio flat is in central London, Zone 1. It has better amenities than most hotels. And it was listed as just £1,000 a month. The cheapest rent I've ever seen for a place like this. And I got it. With no full-time job, low income, almost no UK rental history, and no bidding war. This is a unique story about renting an exceptional London flat against all odds. If you think incredible properties are out of your reach, you might just be looking in the wrong way. Flat hunting in London can feel like the Wild West. Everything is expensive and gets taken in minutes. Estate agents can be rude and unhelpful. And you keep hearing about insane bidding wars and tenants' horror stories. But here's the good news. It is still possible to find amazing deals in central London, even on a tight budget. It took me years to develop a process and I've repeated it many times, uncovering hidden gems one after another. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I found what I call the best apartment deal in London's history, with no connection, no high income, no outside help. And I'm gonna give you a proper tour of the flat. Alright, let's dive in. It all started a few years ago. I'd been casually looking for flats for about 6 months. But about 2 months before I had to move, I really started hunting, checking listings, booking viewings, and applying to anything that looked even halfway decent. Right before this flat popped up, I actually found another one in Shoreditch. It was in a new build and it was quite unusual. It was actually a flat share with a businessman that would be away most of the time. The building had a gym, a cinema room, the whole package. I thought I had it, but someone beat me to it. Honestly, I was pretty disappointed. But looking back, I'm glad it happened, because what came next was so much better. After that, I set up what I call a viewing day. Basically, I scheduled a bunch of viewings all in one go. I actually made a video about how to do this and why it can be a real game changer in your flat hunting journey. I'll put the link here if you want to check it out. The viewing day was on a Saturday, so I didn't have to take time off work. I had a few places lined up to see. Then, the night just before my viewing day, the listing for my flat showed up online. I didn't waste a second. I emailed the agent within 10 minutes of the flat going live. And they booked me a viewing for the next day, which was perfect timing. Now, I'll be honest, the viewing day was mostly disappointing. Most places were rooms in flat shares. Since I wasn't earning much, I was trying to keep rent low. I saw some terrible rooms, a few okay ones, but nothing I could imagine living in. I saw a room with a door that opened straight onto the street, like zero safety or privacy. One place didn't have a window. Another one looked like it was an illegal squat. One viewing got cancelled last minute because someone else had already taken the flat, and one agent just stood me up completely. I did see a couple of decent places, but honestly, I couldn't get excited about it or even think about applying. Then finally, I got to my flat. And it didn't start well because the first thing I noticed when I arrived was that the windows were single glazed, which usually means more noise and higher heating bills. So I was ready to be let down once more. I thought no way a studio with so many amenities at this price can be legit. But just seeing the communal areas reassured me. And after about 15 seconds inside the flat, I blurt out, I want it. And you'll see why in a second. As soon as I got home, I sent my application right away. It was a Saturday, so they closed early, and I had to get it in before the weekend. Being an international student with almost no UK rental history made me nervous, so I did everything I could to make my application stand out. I explained my situation, that I was finishing uni soon and I would have a full-time job. I offered to sign an 18-month lease instead of 12 months. I offered to pay 6 months rent up front, and I included a reference from my previous landlord. I spent the weekend and following weeks stressing out, waiting for an answer. And then, the landlord said yes. I was over the moon. And a few weeks later, I moved in. Honestly, none of this would have happened if I hadn't seen the listing the moment it went live and messaged the agent straight away. That timing made all the difference. If you want to be able to jump on rare listings like this one too, I share my top picks in a weekly newsletter. It's completely free and you can sign up using the link below. So, what does a £1,000 a month studio in central London with a pool and a rooftop actually look like? Let me show you. This studio was right in the heart of London Zone 1, a 3-minute walk from Barbican Station. The flat itself was lovely, but what made it really special were the extras. And trust me, there were a lot. It was on the 3rd floor with a lift. That's already a big win. As you walk in, there is a small hallway. On the left, that's the bathroom. It had a bathtub, which is surprisingly rare in central London, and a big mirror that made the space feel much larger. Back in the hallway, on the right there is a built-in closet, perfect for jackets, the hoover, ironing board, all the bulky things you don't want lying around. Next is the separate kitchen. It wasn't huge, but it was very functional. It had a decent amount of counter space, a combined microwave oven, and plenty of storage. What I loved the most was that it didn't feel like a student accommodation. There was space for a proper bed, a sofa, a coffee table, and even a dining table. With only around 25 square meters, it felt surprisingly open, especially with the separate kitchen layout. Now, here's the part that still blows me away. I didn't pay for hot water, and because the hot water pipes ran under the floor, I basically had free underfloor heating. I never turned the heater on, not once. And this saved me so much money. But more on that later. The flip side of this constant underfloor heating was that it got a little warm in summer, but I could live with that. My window was also opening to the back of the building, and it was very quiet and safe, so I could leave my window open all the time. Now, for the real perks. The building had a concierge 5 days a week. In the basement, there was a swimming pool, a gym, a dance studio, a sauna, and 2 changing rooms with showers. You could just show up whenever and enjoy the facilities. And it was never busy. Even in summer, I might have shared the pool with one family. That's it. There was also a big laundry room down there, which was super handy because I didn't have a washing machine in the flat. The entire building had CCTV, which made it feel very safe. There was bike storage as well, and then the real star of the show, the rooftop. On the 7th floor, there was a fully furnished roof terrace, with tables, chairs, and the most unbelievable 360-degree views. You could see the sunrise, the sunset, the fireworks, all from your own peaceful little bubble above the city. There was even a communal herb garden looked after by a gardener, and I could just pick what I needed for cooking. Honestly, I love this terrace so much. I'd come and have my morning coffee here every day and spend a fair amount of time there when I was working from home as well. Now that you've seen the flat, let's talk money, because it keeps getting better. Rent was £1,000 a month, council tax was £150 a month, water was £20 a month, Wi-Fi was £15, electricity was roughly £15 a month. Yes, 1-5. But keep in mind that I wasn't paying for hot water, heating, or laundry. I didn't know that when I moved in, but it turned out to be a hidden perk I'm still grateful for. It saved me a lot. So at the time, my total accommodation expenses were roughly £1,200 a month. And for a studio this size, in Zone 1, with a pool, a gym, a concierge, a rooftop terrace, and more, that's genuinely unbeatable. Even though it was actually more than my monthly income. It was about 130% of my income to be exact. Yes, you heard that right. I was spending more than I made. But for context, I was still doing my master's degree, and I knew I'd be working full-time soon with a better salary. I also had savings from a previous job, which helped cover the gap for a while. Some people might say it was a reckless choice, but for me, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It was absolutely worth it, because when you're flat hunting, it all comes down to something I call the value triangle. It's a super simple way to figure out what truly matters to you. I explained the whole concept in another video. I'll link it here if you want to check it out. Looking back, I don't regret renting this flat for a second. In fact, compared to my first flat in the UK, this was a massive glow up. I paid more for my first place, even though it was smaller, in a worse location, and came with none of the amenities. If you want to see what that looked like, there is a full video on my very first flat in London. I'll link it here for you. One thing I wanted to mention. When I moved out, this flat was relisted at £1,750 a month. That's a £750 increase. For the exact same place! That's wild! I definitely got lucky. I think I benefited from the post-pandemic uncertainty, when landlords were still nervous and rents hadn't bounced back yet. But even then, none of the other flats I saw came close to this deal. So yes, hidden gems do exist in London. You just need to know how to actually spot them. And if you're wondering if you could get a flat similar to mine right now in 2025, I've made a full video walking you through the best ones available on the market. You can watch it right here.